Hey there, welcome to another edition of KathyLanham.com, the place to be. If you want to be a more savvy side hustler, you have found your spot. Because I truly believe that you have unique gifts and talents that are given to you to bless not only yourself, but the world. So, I hope you'll grab a journal and a pen and stick around with us because today we're talking about a great conversation. Oh, I said the word talking, didn't I? Yeah, it's all about having conversation. So we're going to have the conversation of how to form relationships. So I do hope that you'll stick around, grab that pen and a journal, maybe a beverage, and let's see if we can learn something of value. All right, let's jump right into forming relationships. Now, if you've been around the industry of direct sales or network marketing for very long and all, you know probably, or you've heard the acronym for FORM, F period, O period, R period, M period. And that stands for a way in which you can enable conversation between two folks. And I find that it is vastly interesting to me. This is something for me that comes naturally. It's kind of intuitive, but not so much for a lot of folks, and particularly not if you're younger. If you're here and that's a struggle for you, and I hear it couched in a lot of ways, I don't care what they're thinking. I don't want to know about them. But if you are in any type of sales, then you are in the friend market. You're in the relationship business, whether you like it or not. And it may be that you don't like doing it only because you haven't practiced it enough, or you maybe need some guidance and help. Point to illustrate this, the University of Kentucky now, in their nursing program, part of their interview process is the opportunity to have conversation with them, to have dialogue. So their interview process is way more than looking at their GPA, because all of these kids that are applying are bright, they're motivated, they have great GPAs. It's way beyond that. But the thing that they're finding is these young men and women don't really know how to have conversation. Now, that's a problem if bedside manner is pretty much a job requirement for the job that you're asking, and they want the best and the most elite staff, so it's in their best interest to do so. I'm going to give you a method in case you may be shy, you may be more introverted, you may really not care what people are about, but hopefully this will help you out. So when you're in conversation, we want to for people way before we form them. So we want to spend the bulk of the time in the for section. And the person that guides the conversation is the person that's asking the questions, not the one that's doing the majority of talking, but it's the person who's asking the questions. Now, I'm going to give you another little tip here before I jump into the forms. When people are answering your questions, have some type of mechanism, whether it's Evernote on your phone or Notepad, or just send yourself a text if you have to, but you want to remember the salient points that they've shared with you. I can't tell you the number of times I have not done this, and let's say it's with my husband's work staff and they've shared with me about their kids, and I'm truly interested, and I find out all of this information, but I'm doing it for one person and then another person and then another person. So I end up getting them all confused and jumbled, or we'll get to the car and I'm like furiously doing all this and asking my husband questions. And he's like, how do you remember all of that? And my point is, I don't. So you have to write it down to remember it. And I was so embarrassed. One day I was excited and I was like, so how is Megan? And they're like, and their child's name was Melody or Meredith or so, I don't even know. So now I've got a mental block because I was embarrassed because I didn't write it down, so I didn't remember it correctly. So that will help you as you're asking questions and developing the skills. Okay, so let's look at the first letter, F. So you're simply at this point going to ask open-ended questions about their family. So how did you and Sally meet? So tell me about your family. Are you married, single, otherwise occupied? Tell me about yourself. Are you Oh my, you come from a family of 5 and you're the only girl? Really? What was that like growing up? So where do you fit in your family dynamics? How many kids are in your family? Oh, 12. Oh my gosh, where do you rank in that? So what was that like growing up in a really big family like that? And you're asking questions and you're waiting for the answers. Now, I'm not normally caught off guard, but the other day I was asking this lady, we were having a conversation. She was little, thin, fit, young, younger than me. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, I have personally right now, I have 4 grandchildren. And she looked to be a good 10 years younger than me. And she says, oh, yeah, I have 14 grandchildren. How many children do you have that you have 14 grandchildren? She's, oh, well, I have 12 children, but only 4 of them are married, something like that. And I was like, really? Sometimes you do get caught off guard. You just don't know where to go. But you want to build rapport, and you don't want to make them feel like, in her case, I'm sure I made her feel like a fish under a microscope, because I was like, so anyway, so how did you meet your spouse? Where did you grow up? What's it like to be a mom to 12, or a mom to twins, or a mom of multiples, or, oh my, your kids have that really serious allergy. How in the world are you coping with that? What do you do? How did you figure it out? So just continuing to ask questions about their family. The second one is O, occupation. So what's their job? So tell me, what do you do? Do you work outside the home? Very politically correct way to ask a woman or a man in these days, if you work outside the home. What do you do there? What's your responsibilities? How did you get into that job? Oh, that's fascinating. Questions that just would allow them to talk about their self, their accomplishments, their joys in their job. What's the best thing about your job? What's the worst thing about your job? And here's a tip, you're listening. What are they saying that may give you an opportunity later, not right now, to interject into the conversation or to add to the conversation? If they tell you they're miserable at their job, they hate it, they don't make enough money, there's not enough room for advancement, there's no excitement anymore, there's nothing they can do, any of those little tips, you're going to file that away in another compartment. Because if you're in a business that needs clients or recruits or does prospecting, whatever the field is, you're going to listen for what problems, what pain do they have that I can solve. Okay? I'm not talking cold calling, I'm talking having conversations. Now, the R in the word F.O.R.M stands for recreation. What kinds of things do you guys enjoy doing? So if you're not at work winning all these awards and creating these crazy cool patents, what do you like to do? What do you guys do for fun? How did you get into that? What do you, have you always done it? Are you very accomplished at it? Do you have some kind of secret skill? Do you have something that you would love to do? So that you can just go for days on recreation. Where do you like to travel? Where have you been? What's your favorite country? So any question that's not a yes or a no, it's good to go, as long as it's not too personal. So those are questions that are all leading you to the bigger question, and that is the M, so that you're going to fully form your relationship. And the M stands for motivate. What motivates you? Okay, I have a crazy question. What would you go see if you had all the time in the world and all the money? If you won the lottery, what would you like to do? What motivates them to get up and go to work? What things do they want that they do not currently have? What bigger issues do they have that you maybe could provide a bridge and a gap for? I'll give you a great example right now, because we're in crazy times. At the time of this filming, we're in the COVID-19, we're in the coronavirus scare, and the businesses are closing. We've had mandatory shutdowns of multiple businesses, and people are at a loss. They've never homeschooled. Now they have their kids home and they're homeschooling. They've been told to work from home. Well, everybody needs the computer bandwidth. So we're dealing with different stresses, concerns, and different motivations, quite frankly. So a conversation I would have had with an individual 6 weeks ago, it's going to be maybe a whole different conversation now, Now maybe they're motivated to find a job that's not dependent on a company. Maybe it's time they reach out and embrace their greatness. Maybe it's time that they get a secondary stream of income that will supplement the things that they're missing now. So now I'm hearing a lot more opportunity in my business, for recruiting, for adding people to our team, because the company is doing some really cool things. Another thing that I'm hearing, if you're in health and wellness, is there's a tremendous need right now for concerns about their own health and their immunity and how they can build that up and how they can be safe. So those are other conversations. They're going stir crazy. So again, if you're in the coaching business, health and wellness, any of those sections, so how can we help people to develop their skills and to handle all this time at home, right? So when we're having conversations, we're forming relationships, and we're forming relationships not just to sell to people, but how can we serve? Because I truly believe, again, that if we come with a heart of service, with open hands, not expecting anything, but seeing how we can help, and not offering everything maybe on that very first conversation. Now, sometimes I do, but not often. But if the need is really great and I have a product that will help them right then I'm going to make that offer. I'm not going to withhold that. And you have greatness that you need to share with the world. And I really believe too that if you go out and be a blessing to others, then you're going to be blessed yourself. And so that's what this forming conversations, this forming relationship is about. It's blessing others, it's hearing their pain points, and it's offering solutions. Mainly, it's learning to be a professional friend and a professional inviter. So my call to action for you today is talk to 5 people that you don't know, or even it can be 5 people if this is a struggle for you. It can be 5 people that you do know, but you don't know well. I've got neighbors that I don't know very well that I could absolutely do this with them, and I would learn tons. Once you learn it, write it down and see how you can serve them. So that's my thought for today. Now I'm hoping, and it's my prayer and intent every time I do one of these videos, that you've gotten at least one nugget that you can take away and you can apply to your life and your business. So my call to action for you is go have those conversations, go see what relationships you can develop, see how you can form them out, and then I would love to deepen our relationship. So you can join me over in my tribe where we're going to flamingle. You can hit like. I would love a thumbs up. You can subscribe so that you never miss another one of these riveting conversations. But I'm Kathy Lanham. Thank you so much for stopping in and giving me your time, because I know that's your most precious commodity. Be blessed.